I'm Beth Ferry, author of Solar Bear.
I am Brendan Wenzel, the illustrator of Beth's fantastic book. I could not be more excited to be collaborating with Crayola on this Art of Learning session.
Today we're going to talk about endangered species and the ways that we can do something about helping them, protecting them, and our environment as well. Solar Bear was inspired by an image I saw of an exhausted polar bear who was swimming in waters without any ice in sight. And it was one of the saddest things I've ever seen. And it just struck me in such a way that I decided that I needed to learn more about it. So I started to research, how the polar caps are melting and how polar bears are so reliant on the ice for them to rest. And so when there is no ice, they just swim and swim. And it gave me the chills. And so it made me start to research about other animals that were endangered. And there's a lot of information out there. And some of it isn't so inspiring. It's sad that things that are happening, but it also really made me feel that I could do something about it. And so it inspired me to write the book Solar Bear and talk about being aware of what's happening and also what we can do to stop what's happening. A way that we can actually make a difference is to become what I call a solar kid, which means someone who cares about what's happening, not just to humans on Earth, but to all the creatures that inhabit Earth. So you don't have to be a grown-up to make a change. There's lots of ways that you can make a small little difference that if everyone does it actually adds up. So we can shine our lights on the things that we see are wrong, and we can become an advocate for those animals that don't have the voice to speak up for themselves. So some ways that you can actually make a change is they're small, but they're wonderful. You can carpool, and that sounds like such a small thing, right? Just going with your friend to the same place, but it makes a difference in the fossil fuels that we burn, just all the energy that we use up in transportation. You can reuse paper. So as you're drawing wonderful things, you can flip the paper over and use the backside. You can plant a tree. You can build a bee hotel. You can conserve water, turn off the lights when you leave a room. You can use renewable energy, and you can write stories. So the way that I wrote a story made me feel better. It made me feel empowered that I was actually showing the world that I cared enough to write a story about it, and you can do that too. The most important thing you can do is share not only your concern with your family and friends, but your knowledge, all the things that you've learned. You can read wonderful nonfiction books about the animals that are endangered and learn about them, and then tell your friends, because if you care and you share your caring, someone else will probably care too.
I am an author and an illustrator, and if there's one other thing I would probably like you to know about me, it's that I absolutely love animals. And since I was a little kid, I have loved animals. The other thing that I love, my art making, to share that love and that enthusiasm and that fascination for all the things that we share our planet with folks like you. I have been very, very fortunate over 10 years now, be able to collaborate with lots of groups working to protect wild creatures and wild places. And it has been one of the great honors and privileges of my life to meet these superheroes who do all they can to protect these creatures and to learn about the work that they do, sometimes be able to help out by raising my own voice through artwork and through writing. A few years ago, I didn't know much about wildlife conservation. I knew I loved animals, but I had no idea how precarious things were for so many creatures. Learning to love them more, the more I've learned, but also having my heart broken, finding out how threatened so many of these beautiful, beautiful animals are. The list of animals that are in need of our help right now is a long one. There is so much we can do as human beings to lend a hand and help some of these creatures make their way back from the brink. Whether you love to make artwork, whether you like to sing songs, whether you like to dance, however you share your voice, however you share your experience, your thoughts about the world, I would be so grateful if you could try to join Beth and I in raising your voice for animals and all the incredible creatures that need a little bit of help. Illustrating Solar Bear was a ton of fun, and I loved getting to create all these animals in this sort of ethereal, glowing form Beth and I explored throughout the book. So today I thought it would be fun to zero in on one creature, one of my favorite creatures, and also one of the most threatened groups of animals on planet Earth. and to create a non-glowing version of them and to tell you a little bit more about them and how you can lend a hand. I'm going to flip now to one of my favorite pages in this book, which has one of my favorite lines in this book. And the line reads, "On pangolins with pine cone scales." And when I first read this manuscript, that was one of the lines that really jumped out at me and made me really know I needed to be the one to illustrate this book, because I love so many of the creatures in this book, but pangolins are one of my favorite. So this right here is a species called a ground pangolin. And the ground pangolin is one of 8 species of pangolin on planet Earth. One of the great things about making a pangolin is you get to make lots of scales. And one of the cool things about making pangolin scales is that there's no wrong way to do it. And the more textures I find that you can put into a pangolin scale, the better. So the first thing I did to get out my giant construction paper here. All right. And the very first thing I did was get out a nice pink piece of paper. And I'm going to say this many times throughout the session, but there is no wrong way to make artwork. However you see the world around you, that is fantastic and beautiful and wonderful. Whatever shape you think a pangolin looks like, if you want to make it a little bit different than the one I'm making, that's totally fine. But what I want to do first is make this kind of half circle, and that's going to be our pangolin's body. Then I want to make our pangolin's tail, and that's going to be a big upside down triangle. Then I want to make our pangolin's face, and that's going to be sort of a smaller triangle with a round edge on it. And then we're going to make our pangolin's arms like this. And then we're going to make our pangolin's legs, which are going to kind of look like slightly bigger versions of the arms. I'll just cut one shape out. Right now, this can be loose. Sometimes I leave a little bit extra in case I want to glue some of my part on in a different way. But all this is going to be covered, so it doesn't have to be precise. So what you would now do is take your shapes and you would cut them all out. But what I have done is pre-cut my shapes. So we've got all our pangolin shapes here. And what I'm going to do is flip them all over so we can no longer see our line. And we're going to stick them together like this. Just make sure these are all going in the right places. And the 2 smaller shapes are going to be your front legs. What I did at this point was got out some of these incredible crayons, and there's a whole bunch of different crayons I use. My favorites for construction paper were these Bold and Bright construction paper crayons because they really, really got some great texture for me. And what I did, I'm going to switch this right here with movie magic. And what I did is I just did a little light scribbling to add just a little bit of shading. And I tried to follow the shape as much as possible. And then on these back legs, I tried to do extra scribbling because what's going to happen now is we're going to start putting our pangolin scales on. But the pangolin scales are not going to cover these back legs in our illustration. So I tried to make these a little bit darker so they'll pop out as our pangolin keeps moving. So before we started, I made our pangolin eye. I made this out of construction paper. So I took white construction paper and then glued a little tiny black dot into the middle of the construction paper. And then we're going to now take that. Okay, so we're going to put it about a little more than halfway up from the nose. What I'm going to do is just give our pangolin a little bit of a nose by just coloring this in nice and dark. And then I'm going to use one of our pearl crayons and I'm going to give our pangolin just a little bit of a mouth so we have a guide. One of the first things I love to do with any material is just press down as hard as I can and scribble and really see what that material can do. And one of the cool things about having this many different kinds of materials is you can layer things. This is a little watercolor crayon. This was another one of the materials that I really, really love, these quick dry paint sticks. And one of the things I love to do when I'm making handmade paper is just layer stuff over stuff and just try different kinds of marks. All of the pangolins are facing some sort of threat of extinction. One of the things that I love to do when working on pangolin scales for this exercise is to try to infuse my illustrations with a little bit of my love and a little bit of my hopes for pangolins. We're going to trim this into pangolin scales. So any kind of texture is good texture, right? Anything that can give these scales a little bit more shine is going to be fantastic. Again, I love this line from Beth's book, pangolins with pine cone scales. So I'm going to write that out on my paper now. And then above that, I'm going to write save the. Okay, so now we have this piece of paper and it says, save the pangolins with pine cone scales. So this is one way that we can kind of infuse this illustration with a little bit of our fascination, with our love, with our enthusiasm for pangolins. I'm cutting this up because I want this message to be part of our illustration. Because when you cut it up, you start to get a scale with a little bit of texture. And it might not look like it, but we'll know what this illustration was about. I want to get a piece of this beautiful, heavy-duty black construction paper out because pangolins are this sort of tannish, brownish color. And so you would think, why are you using black? But one of the cool things about this paper and using some of these materials is that you can draw right on top of the construction paper. What happens when you put a lot of these colors on top of that black is, one, you get this really fantastic texture kind of popping through, but it also starts to look a little bit brown. These were some of my favorites as well. And now I'm using the side of the chalk or the side of the crayon, and I'm really just trying to grind that into the paper to get these really, really beautiful textures here. When you start to cut up pangolin scales, you can kind of think a little bit about the shape. There's two ways that I do it. One way is you can make a little square, and then you can just kind of snip off the edges like that, and that's kind of like a pointier pangolin scale. And then the other way is to take that piece of paper and then to kind of make a little bit of an arc on there. All right, and so there's kind of two different ways to come at those pine cone scales. And you're going to need pangolin scales of all different sizes because we're going to move up the body. I am not going to make all these scales in front of you because that would take a really long time. And I want you to be able to play for as long as you want with whatever you have in front of you and make whatever kind of textures feel right to you. So I want to give you just a little bit of some artist secrets when working on a pangolin, because pangolin scales can be a little bit tricky. So I want to show you the two most difficult parts of putting the pangolin scales on. So there are a few sections that I always start with when I make pangolin scales. So I'm actually going to draw on our pangolin for a second so you can see this. Pangolin scales move up from the bottom of the arm like that, and they move upward like that. And then pangolin scales move down the back leg. So one of the things I like to do in this section where the scales move from the back to the leg can be really tricky. So one of the things I like to do is start with the back, and then I like to start right here. And if I can get these two sections right, the scales usually fall in place. So what I do to put my pangolin scales on is I take my scale, and then I take a little bit of glue, and I don't put it on the whole scale. I only put it on the very back. Because then what happens is you can put that down, and it might squeeze out a little bit in the back. That's okay. And then I will make a whole row of pangolin scales. And again, one of the fun things about this exercise is you can do it with other people. You can all make scales your own way, and they all look fun next to each other. And then what you can do after that is just take your other scales, and because you didn't glue it all the way down, you can put them right underneath there. I am going to let you all experiment with putting your pangolin scales on how you want. And I'm going to move this to the side, and I'm going to bring in a pre-scaled pangolin. Here we have our pre-scaled pangolin. Here's all my pangolin claws that I've pre-cut on this piece of paper. I'm going to add just a tiny little dab of glue. I hope you have fun making your own at home.
Okay, that was awesome. I loved seeing how you made the pangolins and all their scales and all the things that kids are going to write on them to show how they care about animals on the earth. There's lots of ways to be involved, but there's lots of ways to learn about things that you don't know. And one of the places is the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. And this is their job, to pay attention to endangered species. And so you can actually go on their website and see what animals are endangered, ones that were endangered and aren't anymore. And I think that's the best part. Thank you so much for joining us today, friends. We hope that you had fun making your pangolin scale and that you've learned some things about the earth and the animals that need our help to be robust populations that they should be. And one of my favorite quotes about being a friend to humans or to animals is, the best way to have a good friend is to be a good friend.
Yeah, Beth, I love what you said. And we live on this beautiful green garden of a planet, and it just gives so much to us. And I think the least we can do is to take care of that planet as well. There are so many animals that we share this world with, and so many of them need our help. Whatever you can do to help protect them, to help conserve them, to share your love for them, I look forward to seeing all the beautiful artwork of them that you all create.
Crayola has tons of art of learning videos, and they're all really interesting. Just have fun making art. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope you have a great Earth Day.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Happy art making.